You have arrived at your destination.
You are now a loyal follower of the Villain District Podcast.
What? I love that moment of you hit the record button
and then you go
just like,
oh jeez.
You go, I should have been thinking of ways to start conversations while we were sitting around having a conversation.
well, I'll tell you how to start it
Please,
this time.
please tell me.
What's up, Matt?
Not much,
That's a good
Joe.
way to start.
Mr. Matt of it's been a while.
It has been.
It hasn't been a while since we've spoken.
No.
But it's been a while since
No,
you've
we
been
were
on.
just speaking right before we started recording.
Right before that button was
Right
pressed,
before.
and then
Yeah.
we all just froze up.
That's right.
Yeah.
Then the conversation stopped. But
See, on you ever listen to the Nerdist podcast?
Occasionally.
Chris Hardwick? Mm-hmm. He does a thing where he's got his engineer that comes with him,
Right.
and record is hit well before the guest even arrives.
yeah.
So all that stuff we just talked about once you got in here would be recorded.
That would be
Nice.
that'd be clever. We should do that sometime.
Yeah.
So is that like? Do they use
Be
that in the
tricky.
show? Is it like
Some of
witty?
it.
Is it like witty banter that they
Yeah.
put at the beginning and then?
I think it's the thing is what just happened to us that
Yeah.
Yeah.
what do we do?
They don't. Yeah.
That moment doesn't exist because his big thing is he doesn't want it to feel like an interview.
And our big thing is we would like it to be as awkward as possible.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
we want that moment.
Well,
But it has.
I'm going to need a fresca for this guy.
You need a nice fresca.
Fluff and a fresco.
But it has been a while since you've been on the podcast.
It has.
I feel like we were talking about this on the podcast, actually.
that it's been a while.
Is that true? That it's been a while since he's been on? Maybe not. Maybe it was off mic. I don't know what you're saying.
It's just like it's just pressing your lips together and then
No,
making-
I mean, yeah, I don't know what it means,
Oh.
I guess. Yeah.
I don't know. We've had Aaron on. We've had
We had Craig,
Craig on. We've had
Jake.
on. We've had
Sean Keller.
Sean on.
Yep.
We're like
Yeah.
knocking them down.
You're not,
We're knocking them down
why did it take so
getting
long
there.
to get to me, guys?
We're getting
why did it take
there.
so long?
because they were just stealing the thunder. But
That's
you're,
true.
every time someone involved with Bagged and Board is on the show,
I listen.
Nice.
probably because you're always mentioned.
Oh,
That's
And-
true.
And
Yeah.
dude, you always listen, so you know.
that is true.
And he loves it.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, when are they going to talk about me?
You just keep hitting that 15-second forward button.
Right.
The first time you were on, we had April and Kent on with you as well.
Yes.
So this is your first solo flight.
Right.
On
little,
the
little
the
nervous.
BDP.
Yeah, they make me sound good, so
Right.
get to play off of them.
Yeah.
When was
sorry,
that?
fellas.
When was that you
That
came
was
on the
probably around May. I think,
Yeah.
of last year.
What's
Jeez.
interesting about that is we were having a conversation with you, and we didn't know you at all.
That's true.
Like
Correct.
we had met on a job.
Yeah.
And it was like it was a job that we got on like pretty much last second because you guys
That's how we operate.
you guys were out an audio
Yeah.
rig
Yeah.
guys people, and so the last conversation we had, I feel like this one's going to be a little different
Oh yeah,
because
absolutely.
we've
known each other.
we've
right?
known
We've
each
worked
other
together
we've
now.
worked together, we've conversed a lot,
Yeah.
we've hugged,
Yeah. Yeah. So
all
That
those things.
changes. That
all,
changes.
the, all the
dynamic.
butterflies are out now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all
Now it's
good.
just down to business.
Well, let's talk business, Joe.
Let's talk
Let's
business.
talk
What do you want to chat about? What do you want to chat about? You didn't have any.
He just wants to make noises.
He didn't have any ideas.
No clue. No clue.
Well, this
my
is
gosh.
this is off to a great start then.
It
Yeah,
is.
that's good.
Absolutely.
I was thinking earlier, the last several. When I say the last several, probably the last 42 podcasts, 43 podcasts we've recorded.
So all of them.
After we record, I'm like, oh, okay, I've got to record an intro for this podcast.
Gotcha.
And it's normally like 9 o'clock in the morning, the day of when it needs to go up on the air. So go into my office, I pull out a mic. The last podcast we recorded, I left the phantom power on, and I don't know if you noticed this listening back, Will, but my voice is distorted sounding. It clipped out, and I'm like, it's fine.
Yeah.
I tried to EQ out as much of it as I could.
It's fine.
I could have just re-recorded it.
Yeah, no.
But
It's totally
That would
fine.
be
But I'm
way
like-
too much effort.
why don't we ever like cover like intro stuff like when we're actually talking? Like, hey Matt, you're the creator.
Oh, yeah,
and
we don't
director
ever
of
do
Bagged
that.
and Board, and
I feel like that
That
makes
is
it
an
feel
interesting approach.
that makes it feel more interviewy though. Do you know what I mean? Like I just want to have a conversation with
I'm-
Matt, and
I
we'll
don't
talk
know-
about Bagged and Board.
I mean, conversations are okay. I'm not interested in.
Why don't you all do
Right.
an intro right now?
right now?
Yeah, I'll direct you guys. For the first time
Actually, I would
ever,
like this.
a live intro.
Yeah, this is a good idea.
For the villain
Live
district.
intro.
Yeah, you guys play
This
off
is
each
good.
other.
Okay.
This is good.
And action.
Hey guys.
Hey everybody.
Hey, that's what you do. Hey everybody.
Hey everybody.
That's Will. This is Joe and Will with the villain. Today we got a show.
We
for
got
you.
it. Man, do we have one for you. You won't believe what happens.
Actually, normally it's about like this. If I'm doing an intro by myself. Hey guys. Today,
Just waking up.
today on the podcast we have
today we got
we've got Mr. Matt Gaither. Matt Gaither is the creator of a web show called Bagged and Board. It's a lot of people seem to be into it.
That's a more
Enjoy.
accurate. That's a
Is
more
it? Is
accurate
it?
live intro. I'll just pretend I'm off at work. and
Yeah.
You're doing that.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we need to. It's your turn to start doing intros.
I
man.
know, right? I need
I've
to.
done too many intros.
I know, right?
Okay, how'd we do?
Solid B plus.
Solid
Okay,
B+.
I'll take it.
Solid B
I like
plus.
it.
That's
yeah.
better than my regular C minus 9 a.m.
So speaking of Bagged and Board, as
Yeah.
we sort of were in that fake intro,
Sure.
it got mentioned. Yeah, you recently had a fantastic premiere.
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. That was.
We were there. It was great.
Correct. Yeah.
It was a
and
wonderful good time.
You all were actually in the episode too.
Right.
I don't know-
Absolutely.
I don't know if you paid attention to that or not.
I was a
but-
little. Let me tell you, I was a little nervous about it, and I'll tell you why.
Okay. Right now or
Yeah.
later?
Over the last year or so, I've put on about 20 pounds.
Okay.
I don't know why. It's probably.
No one ever purposely wants to put on
I've
20
even
pounds, unless it
started-
is for
yeah.
a role.
I'm
was it
almost-
for the role?
It was
was
for
it
the role.
Ranchman number 2?
I'm almost 30, you know,
Uh-huh.
and like not getting any younger.
So you're like,
I've started running and everything, and it's not doing anything.
you're like, so if there was ever a time to put on 20 pounds,
Wait, so
it's right when I'm almost 30. I
yeah,
gotta do
right
this
when I'm
before
going
I
to be
turn
in
30.
this
Yeah,
web
Right.
series.
No,
Yeah.
but honestly, I was like, dude, all that's going to show. But luckily, the way Matt color grades, it fixed. Hey, I've got something I
Sure,
want to
yeah.
talk about. Something I don't think I knew about you. Maybe I did, and I just forgot, and I'm a terrible friend.
Oh, okay.
I think,
setup.
according
Nice. What
to
a-
Aaron, you and I have something in common,
Yeah.
and it's trouble with color.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
You have a
I heard that
color.
too.
You got a eyeball deficiency.
Yeah. It's color blindness, man. Red-green color
Red
blind.
green colorblind.
yeah.
Whoop,
Both-
whoop.
both
I got
red
that.
green.
I
And-
got that too.
Inherited from Mama Gaither. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
See,
that's
I'm
just how it
I'm
worked
like
out.
the lone duck here. Like I don't know any.
The
Actually,
lone duck? Is that a thing?
Yeah,
Okay.
ducks can't see colors.
Okay.
I don't know. What? The ugly duckling was not yellow. He
Right.
was ugly.
Ugly. Yeah. Okay.
But so I always have trouble if I ever do anything video work.
Sure.
It's typically not very often, but every now and then I'll shoot like a music video or something like that. And the first video I ever shot, I was watching YouTube videos on how to color grade and whatever, and I was trying to be
Yeah.
like a big shot color
Yeah.
grader or whatever. And my girlfriend is very color. She's color distinguished.
Gotcha. That's good.
She can see him. She can see him real
Color
good.
distinguished.
So every now and then I would take a screenshot of what I was working on and
Yeah.
I'd send it to her. And I took a screenshot and she said, "His face is literally green. Like you made green skin.
Oh, man.
That's
You
awesome.
made this man green."
You made this man.
And ever since then, I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't do that. Like it's something I can't do. Like, do you ever feel that way?
Yeah, I mean, just what you just from what you just told me there, a lot of lot of problems in art class when I was a lad. And the green skin thing, I did the exact same thing, except imagine taking like, you know, pastels or you know, paint or colored pencil or whatever, and drawing and coloring this cool thing of these anime figures that you think are just like so cool. And you're like, what do you guys think? And they say, what? Why are they green? are they zombies? Are they sick? And I'm like, oh no.
That's super interesting because I feel like I've never the color of something has never been the first thing I notice. It's never been of that much importance to me. It's just another thing. Whereas I don't feel like everyone, like the first thing many people notice is, you know, the color of something. Which is the opposite of what I said. But I don't know. I thought that was interesting. Because I know that you do a lot of the color work for Dragonborn?
A lot of times, like in the earlier episodes, I had Rance. He helped out. He kind of I would do some very rough color correction of like what I would, you know, what I thought was right. Cause there's times where, you know, like, oh, this footage is hot. I need to cool it down. Yeah, sure. That's just, you know, just the way that we shoot at the seat of our pants. Cause, you know, you're like, man, we have to do this really quick. Yeah. No time to white balance. We'll do that in post. So, you know, so there's certain scenes, I guess in the first 3 episodes that kind of worked out. And then now at times it's like, I'll go ahead and color correct it. And if nobody says anything, then I'm just like,
right.
Yeah, awesome. Dude, totally. Usually it's Aaron that says something now because he has a big mouth. And I was gonna say he's you know, he pays attention to the details, the little details. And yes, he does have a big mouth. Sorry,
he won't listen. He
never listens.
No, you're fine.
But yeah, like he helped out with that. He did some color correction in this recent episode, not because there was anything particularly wrong with it, but we felt like the you know, in episode 6, which has the, you know, card world, the Kuso world, if you will. So you have the real world and the Kuso world, and he was like, I think we can make those colors a little bit, you know, stand out a little bit more vibrant, you know, when Kent and Zoe are training. And then later on, when there's, you know, the final confrontation in a place called the Forest of Souls, and obviously we shot that in daytime with, like, you know, bright colors on the leaves that doesn't really scream, this is scary. Right. You know, this is ghostly. And he was like, let me, like, I just desaturated all the color, which was kind of an easy solution for me, because that's what I would do. Yeah, I was just like, well, I mean, it looks kind of scary, but you lost a lot of detail. And he was like, I think I can make it kind of bluish and spooky looking. Sure. So we gave that to him, and so he's kind of the go-to color guy if there is any problems. But I'm happy to say that I've been able to manage pretty well.
Nice. Good for you, man.
Yeah.
That's good.
I'm coping. I'm coping, guys. Yeah. I didn't know this was going to be like a color correction anonymous.
Well, that's just something I don't think we had talked about.
No. It was more annoying in high school because people would be like, they would hold up colored pencils or crowns and like they'd cover up the names.
They test you.
And, they'd test me. They're like, what color is this? What color is this? And I usually did pretty good, but then when they get into the shades and whatnot, or if it's like purples and blues.
Don't get me started. Joe hated that. Crayola, purple and blue and violet.
Yeah,
they're the same one. They just the name's different. Like
it's like a big conspiracy that we're all in on.
When I was in kindergarten, my kindergarten teacher just thought I was being a dick.
Yeah, I was going to ask if that ever happened because I remember Joe saying that, like that they were just like, Joe, do it right.
Yeah. Actually, I think it was what's the second teacher's aide or something.
Yeah, they have a teacher's aide.
Right.
It was her because my kindergarten teacher was a saint.
Okay. She understood.
She made me feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Right.
When my mom left. Well, when she dropped me off at school,
okay,
I don't have
thank you for clarifying.
I don't have like a super sad story or anything. My mom listens every week.
That's what to say. Yeah, I was like, well, I'm glad you all reconnected through this podcast.
Like my mom used to stay at the door, and she would cry, and I would cry, and it'd be bad. And my kindergarten teacher, Miss Donna, would have to say, you're gonna have to leave. If you don't leave, he's not gonna do okay.
Yeah.
And then as soon as she left, they were like, "What color is this?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
You know what the irony there is? My kindergarten teacher's name was Mrs. Blue. Yeah. Yeah.
"Nice."
At least that was a color I could see.
At least you could
I-
see her.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Blue's cool. I'm cool with blue.
Yeah, blue's all right.
But see, that's where
Blue is cool.
That's where
Yeah.
the problem
Shade,
comes in, because people are like, "You're fine. You can see blue. You can see yellow." But here's the thing: when purples and neon greens look like blue and yellow,
Right.
then even the blue and yellow, you're telling yourself it's not. It may not be blue or
Yeah.
yellow. Even that's exactly what you're seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
your confidence is bursted like a bubble.
So I know because Joe's colorblindness has been a topic among some of our friends, and so
Sure.
we've talked about the possibility of throwing in and at some point trying to get Joe those glasses that
The N-chroma
try
glasses?
to correct
Really?
it. Have you ever thought about doing that?
I've never heard of such a thing, actually.
Oh, dude,
they
I'll
have,
shoot you
yeah.
that link. So they're a little expensive.
I bet,
Yeah.
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 So probably not then if
Yeah,
if they're
probably not.
expensive.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
There was an interesting. There was one thing on like a website where you could put in URLs, and this was for normies like me. But you could put in URLs, and it would show you what the URL would look like if you were red green colorblind.
Yeah.
and it was very interesting. And I remember showing it to you, and you were like, "Yeah, those two are the same," and they're just
Yeah.
vastly different to me.
Yeah, I
It's very
remember
weird.
one of them was like, "Well, this one has maybe like a little like more yellow or something in it," and that was the normal one that was just normal green.
Uh-huh.
And the green had a nice yellow to it. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know who I am anymore.
Oh man. Well, let me tell you why. This is bringing it back. So you were nervous about watching yourself in Bag and Board episode 6.
Yeah.
I was also nervous, but the reason I was nervous was different.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I was nervous about watching myself in this thing because when me and Joe, we've talked about this on the podcast, but not to you, so this is a good opportunity. When we shot our scene in the park,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And we were doing that. First of all, I ruined a take, which I was very excited about. But then also, we were talking about it afterward, and we were like biting our own lips, like biting the inside of our mouths. And
Yeah.
it was like watching an episode of Bag and Board and trying not to laugh at it, which was very difficult because we had no idea what they were going to say.
watching it live, which
Yeah,
is
exactly.
hilarious. I guess, in
Yeah.
hindsight, it probably would have been better if we gave you a little bit of a heads up on what exactly was going to
This
be
is what's
said.
gonna
other than-
happen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
just gonna tell you to towel him off, give
Yeah.
him water,
Yeah.
and you just stand there the rest
Right,
of the
right,
time.
right.
It'll be easy. Just
Yeah.
don't laugh.
Just don't
Forgot
laugh
about
at
that
all.
last part.
Yeah.
there.
See, if we had at least known like the story, so essentially, there's a man standing in front of Will and I in super short shorts.
Super short.
He's
shorts.
wearing like a
It's a neon. It's almost like a neon greenish. Maybe it's neon.
maybe
green.
it is. I don't know.
It's a bright colored headband.
I'll let y'all keep guessing about
bright
that.
You
headband,
tell us if we're right afterwards.
and he's just going to town, and he's saying these
my-
funny lines that
Yeah.
we weren't prepared for at all.
Yeah.
I feel like if we had known the script, the first take we would have still
yeah.
ruined,
Right.
Yeah.
Because he just plays it so
Oh,
well.
yeah.
he delivers
But then
all
at
the lines
least
completely
after
different.
that, like it's like, okay, Matt, don't roll on the first one, right? And then we'll be fine. But
Yeah.
but we would shoot it segments at a time and make our way through the scene.
Yeah.
So every time we would reset for a new segment, it's like a whole new
We would hear another joke or two. Yeah.
There
It was
are-
good.
There's actually still, I think there's one or two scenes that still made it into that episode where you can tell that you're fighting back a smile, like you're like, and then you immediately get like
Yeah.
stone faced again, like,
Yeah.
and then occasionally like you just see yourselves like you're just kind of like looking around. Like I think you guys were looking for
Yep.
other. I think you mentioned that in the podcast, but you were looking for like I'm just going to stare at this tree,
Absolutely.
or
Yeah.
I'm going to look anywhere else other than like the dude with the short shorts
Yeah.
that's like
Yeah.
gyrating in front of me.
Stepping forward and saying sexual intercourse. I could not deal with that.
frequently engage in. At one point, I was even trying to think like, just you look fat. Don't look fat.
Why'd they have to give me a white shirt? Why can't they give me a black shirt?
Yeah.
Black is slimming.
But maybe we should talk a little bit about the episode.
Yeah,
That sounds like a
probably.
good segue.
Sounds like a good, yeah.
For the listeners who might be lost.
Yeah.
This is okay. This was a really interesting episode for me to watch because we got to spot the episode around Christmas time, right around the New Year to spot for music.
Uh-huh.
And it starts off with a bang. Starts off, you're right into the middle of this gnarly fight scene.
Yeah.
And the first thing I'm thinking when I'm watching it is, oh, this is in a sense like Pog Club, in the sense that Pog Club is very kind of fantastical, very larger than life. But then you come to realize that.
Yeah,
I'm just spoiling. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
We'll tell them in the intro to watch it before
We
they
already
listen.
did the intro.
Right, but the real
What's
intro.
up, guys? It's Will and Joe here, the Villa District Podcast.
Take
Watch
two.
back
Take
and
two.
board.
Watch
Take
back
two
and
of
board
the
before
intro.
you listen. Yeah.
But come to find out, you've got these big action sequences that are played out in real life, but it's just representing what's either happening in a video game or in a card game.
Correct.
And which I thought my interpretation of to this day of Pog Club is a little different than maybe what it was intended.
I love that Pod Club is able to have like interpretations. What
Right.
what really
I love
happened?
that everyone's still talking about Pod Club. so August.
So August.
So I've got basically the reason we brought you here.
Is to settle the
Right.
settle
No.
the great debate. On
No,
what,
I have a proposition
okay.
for season 2, episode 1. I propose that the way everything looked and felt in Pog Club is just how Sean or Adam sees the world. Okay, so everything's just crazy. So you just go back and forth from Adam's perspective to what's actually happening, and like
Right.
Slam and Sid is just like a guy who's good at pogs, like from the outside. But then you go to Adam's perspective, and he's like, ah! He's got a pog in his eye. Anyway, that would be. You should hire me as a writer for season 2. Is what I'm saying.
That's why
It was
why he's
amazing.
brought you here. That was a brilliant move, though, to put them inside of games, and that way you get the fantasy aspect, but
Oh,
you don't
yeah.
have to sort of commit to it.
Correct. Yeah.
You know, that's,
But it's
that's
also
good.
hilarious that for the majority of the thing, they're just playing cards.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
if you've never seen one of these action card games played, you're just flipping cards
flipping
down on a
cards over,
desk
yeah.
and talking about it.
Oh yeah.
But that's not what you get with episode 6 of
No,
the
we
Bag
we
to
like
the
to
Board.
go 17 steps beyond that.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
And have our actors that aren't trained stunt fighters and the director who is not a fight choreographer
Right.
make these over the top wacky action sequences either 2 hours away at Red River Gorge or at the Parklands in I think it's Beckley Station. I think that's where it's at. I don't know.
Yeah.
Middletown somewhere.
Yeah,
in
yeah,
there.
yeah.
But it's easily since Pod Club, I feel like it's always going to get compared to Pod Club just because both episodes are like way out there.
Yeah.
And
Big scale.
Yeah. Very cinematic in just the look and the music.
Haha. Let's get around to
Let's
that.
see. It only took how long to get there?
Yeah.
But
I'll tell
they're
you,
just
23 minutes.
23 minutes to get in there. So it's very it has like it's wacky, it's over the top, but I feel like more people got to play into that this time around. Like it wasn't just the Seans, it wasn't just Sean Keller and Sean Smith that were in this crazy setting. All of the characters got to have their little moments in this one. And it's still tied into the overall story arc. So, Pod Club is kind of its own, they've told me before, like it could be its own self-contained story, like without any lead in or build or anything like that. And
Sure.
while it's a character-driven episode, you don't really learn too much about Adam Shanks other than he was really good at Pogs, but like he doesn't really grow from it. He's just kind of like, oh, no one will ever believe that he was on this wild, wacky adventure, which I think is the fun part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I never like even some of our actors to this day, they have their own Pog Club theories, and like I'm not even going to say if it's a dream or if it's not now because I think that's the fun. And like maybe when Adam got hit by that trash bag while he was doing the hot dog thing, he got knocked out and then dreamed up his old buddy Dennis coming by and had this whole elaborate story where he's the hero.
Totally.
So yeah, but I'm not going to say either way.
Okay.
Bum, bum, bum.
That's fair. I still think it's anyway.
But enough about Pod Club.
But here's what's right now.
Yeah. But it wasn't a dream. Oh,
Yeah, but what's great is that you found a way. Like, for example, in episode 5, we'll talk about Zoe's episode.
cool.
You found a way to.
We're hitting all the greatest hits, aren't we?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You found a way to, like, there's nothing super like outlandish about episode 5,
Right.
but the style and tone is all still there.
Yeah.
I mean, just in character, for example, Zoe's twin siblings, they have their own little theme song. Zoe's flashbacks of her cosplay adventures, and kind of how it tickles that outlandish.
Oh, sure. Especially
vibe.
when you have the Team Rocket twins,
Yeah.
Right.
/ maybe incestual things going on. But I feel
I
like
didn't pick that up.
no,
I didn't get that.
Well, that's good. I didn't really want people to read too far into that. No, but it's just like that kind of that. It's a little bit of an anime trope because, like, it seems like there's always that questionably, like, are they gay? Are they together? Are they brother and sister? Like, that whole
Right.
thing. And we just turned that up to 11 with Aaron and Sarah's characters in that episode because we were like, why not? Let's kind of make it an uncomfortable, cruel intentions type relationship between those two twins. And they, isn't that how all fraternal twins act? I mean,
Yeah, it is.
That's what we were writing
I mean,
for.
It is.
in
Will
terms
and
of
his twin are just
in terms
like
of the generalizations I make. That's
okay.
absolutely.
Will and Greg.
Greg?
What?
Yeah, your
All
twin
right.
Greg.
My twin is
Oh.
Greg. Oh, I
didn't know this.
Apparently, I didn't either, so it's fine.
Just making stuff up.
But one thing I like a lot about episode 6 is you have the outlandishness and the craziness of a pod club, let's say.
Yeah.
But you also have the what's the word? The sort of
It's a Pod Club and a Zoe episode together.
yeah, but even more than that, it's got the sort of ensemble, the sort of Arrested Development, all the characters are important type vibe. Do you know
Right.
what I mean? All the characters get to play off one another, and I like that. While it's a 10th episode,
Except for Veronica.
but Veronica's in there.
She was
is.
there.
I'm
right?
just kidding.
She's
in
part
there.
of the biggest,
kidding.
without spoiling too much, she's part of like the big, like, when watching that episode, people get angry when Kent runs by and gives her a nice big
Yeah.
hug.
Yeah.
So
Well, plus she sparks the whole
correct.
thing.
Yeah. Who cares that his comic book store is at stake?
Yeah.
He just wants to defend the honor of
The honor.
Veronica. The honor of
honor.
Veronica.
Who he really kind of barely knows still, right? I mean, like,
Right.
he kind of barely knows this person. Like, they drove to a podcast episode one time. Like,
Yeah.
he doesn't really know her.
Hey, things happen in
Yeah.
between episodes.
Oh, okay.
Buddy.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Grow up, Will.
It's not true.
It's not like everything's happening.
I mean, don't get me wrong. In my fan fiction, they know each other. But I'm saying
Do tell.
my fan fiction blog that I keep.
Gotcha.
Yeah. For sure.
It got weird. It got weird.
It did.
Weird.
It did.
You made it
Just
weird,
because
Will.
that's true.
I was just waiting to see where I was going to go.
What?
Just seeing if you're going to.
Where was he going to go?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you got one more episode left coming out
We do.
this season.
We do.
But you're done shooting.
We're done shooting.
Okay.
There might be some pickup shots.
Right. Okay.
There's always pickup shots.
Yeah. So-
we were doing pickup shots literally like 2 days before the premiere at Kaiju. So
Okay.
that's just how we operate.
Right. Right.
The dragon scene, there was a pickup in there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where
Dragon
Mr. Evan Pack
That's right. It
Got
was
heavy.
packing heat.
was packing heat. You'll see it. You'll see it.
You'll know.
During
You'll know.
business hours too. Like that's the thing. We usually have to shoot in the mornings, early mornings, or late at night. So thankfully they don't actually open the destination till noon. But we kind of ran out of weekends to get this pickup shot. So I was like, "Hey Evan, is it okay if I swing by and you just put on this karate gi and thrust your pelvis at me for a little bit and."
For a little bit.
Yeah, just
and that's
a
what we
while.
did.
Just
Like,
a
I mean,
while.
customers were there. They're like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "Oh, it's just for a web series." And just putting on this black karate gi at the front of the store. And we found out that well, I mean, it's not like we found this out, but Jeremy's a lot taller than Evan Peck.
Yeah, he was quite a bit.
So the pants were a lot baggier on him, so we had to kind of like had to hoist them up underneath. So you didn't really see him, but he was wearing them pretty high, like Steve Urkel underneath
nice.
the part that hangs down,
Yeah.
or else it just would have been really baggy.
Yeah.
So it would have looked like all of a sudden he's sagging.
Just a weird. Yeah.
Just a sagging Johnny Masters going. "Wow, wow, wow." So and then we got a few people looking, but at the same time they were like, "What is this for?" And then, "Oh, here's a business card, bagged and board. Check it out.
There you go.
Social media, YouTube, yeah."
Networking.
So we
Networking.
we got a few fans just from Evan thrusting his crotch.
from-
That was
I mean,
really
that's how you get
That was,
fans.
that was the
Let's-
long con there.
let's
Who
be
cares about
honest.
the episode?
That
It
is
would've
the
just
selling
been-
point. Let's be real.
Because here's what's funny.
Oh,
No one else has seen
here it
Slamming
comes. That's
Sid.
what's funny.
No one else has seen Slamming Sid, right? Slamming
Right.
Sid, except for Adam.
Correct.
So he could come into the comic book shop, and he's just a guy. And then,
Oh my
and then Adam
God.
hits the deck, because then, okay, here's Adam's perspective, and he's like, ah, ha, 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 he's got his shirt off, he's got two pogs for his eyes.
Let me tell you the
He
problem.
really
And then
wants
everyone
this.
else looks at him, and he's just like, hey guys.
Let me tell you the problem. Let me tell you the problem with this approach is that it answers the question of Pod Club.
Yeah.
See, the joy of Pod Club is the question that it raises.
Okay, whatever.
See,
All
you know
right,
what I mean?
that's fine.
So you got maybe a couple pickup shots. I'm sure you got a lot of editing to do on episode 7. But let's cut to episode 7's out. You have a premiere.
Oh man,
It goes up online. Let's
That
fast
was
forward.
quick.
Yeah.
it was quick.
That was quick.
Let's say you do
31
that.
minutes.
31. We're done with season 1. 31 minutes in. But you put episode 7 up. It's all out. It's all done. What do? You seem like a very busy guy. You got a lot of plates spinning.
I know. Yeah.
What do? Do you sit back? Do you go to Tahiti? Where's a beach? Is that a beach? Yeah.
No, you don't.
What do you do?
Well, I mean, that's just one part of the. That's just one. That's a huge part of the puzzle,
Right.
Of the Bagnum Board puzzle is
Right.
getting that out there. But then, you got to think, Blu-ray, DVD. Got to
Yeah.
think of those special features,
Merchandising.
So merchandising,
That's right.
all that fun stuff. But no, we're gonna do a documentary feature.
Oh, nice.
On either, we haven't decided if it's going to be on both or if it's like the exclusive Blu-ray thing where it's like, hey, buy the slightly more expensive Blu-ray so you can see the behind the scenes footage. So like, we'd interview all the actors,
All the composers.
all the composers. we'll interview you too, Will. I don't want to
Right,
leave you
just
out.
for fun.
You were henchman number one.
I'll
there.
just be like, I think I saw the show one time. I loved it.
Remember when you were ruining all those takes?
Yeah, totally.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that. It was
Yeah.
cold.
I was playing myself. I actually work for Jeremy at his comic shop.
So I told the cast this, and I was like, for season 1, for a lot of you, season 1 is done. Like you are, you're free to do whatever you want now. You don't have to worry about me like invading your weekends and being like, hey, are you free this day? Are you free this day? But season 1 for me isn't officially done until I walk up to each of them individually, give them either whatever they prefer, DVD or Blu-ray, with like a nice little thank you note in there, and just being like, here you go, thank you.
Nice.
And then like, they get to watch it at their leisure and just be like, "Ee."
Totally.
So, do you have plans for any kind of promotion further than like locally? For example, like wherever you
Give me
would
some
start.
examples because this will help me
yeah,
when we
yeah.
do reach that point.
I mean, I'm sure there are more kinds of like festivals.
I was gonna say,
are there web series festivals you could submit to?
I would think so. Like,
Yeah.
what I've been talking. It's funny you bring all this up because me and Brian Barrow have kind of been our executive producer.
Right.
Perhaps you all know Brian.
Oh, he wears the hat. I've seen it.
I don't know if I remember him. I'm not sure.
Well, we've been talking a lot about like, I guess kind of bridging the gap in between, the end of season 1 into season 2 when that starts. And, obviously we want, before we kind of, do the crowdfunding thing into, high gear on either Kickstarter, Indiegogo, wherever that may be, we want to make sure that as many eyes see this other than just like, here locally. And, I do feel like we do have somewhat of, an audience elsewhere, but the numbers don't lie. We could easily get more people checking this thing out.
Sure.
And I think
How do you do it?
how do you do
Right,
it? That's the
right.
thing. Yeah, I was like, I was thinking about putting that in the tagline for Kuso Combat, where it's like, we have martial arts, we have fatalities, we have anime references. Is there anything we can't do? Apparently, getting people to watch it is the one thing we can't do. But I was like, that's a little condescending. So, but I think a lot of it kind of boils down to we're in a binge watch culture now,
Right.
and our episodes, for better or for worse, come out like at least 3 or 4 months apart. So people lose interest, real fast. But at the same time, that really helped us. Because if we did not put those first 2 episodes out, because the actors were already trusting me and trusting everybody involved that was working on it, like that they would look good and that this wouldn't turn out like a lot of them had been on projects where it never even saw the light of day.
Sure.
Right.
Because they're like, well, it's still in post 6 years later.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not going to happen with this. We're going to do 7 episodes and after that, we'll see what happens with crowdfunding. But like, we're locked in. We're over my dead body. We're gonna have 7 episodes, and once we put those, especially like the first, I feel like the first 2, once those came out, more people were willing to, extend their talents either with acting or musically or
That's me, guys.
I'm pointing over towards Joe.
People at home are just clapping.
Yeah.
They're just put your hands on the wheel, guys. You have to drive right now.
But we had a lot more actors that were interested in helping out, and like they knew up front that like no one gets paid to work on Bag and Board. It's just kind of this. It's been like an experience of just showcasing everyone's talents here locally in Louisville. And even somebody like Harry Hickel, who's who's one of our best kept secret weapons as far as just the art and now the animation, which he learned the how to basically animate that end credit scene. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to put a timestamp on He didn't do the actual motion comic in episode 4, which had some movement, had a little bit. He did
the animation.
He
but
did
the
all the illustrations, and then Aaron
illustration.
did that, and then he just watched that and was kind of like, I want to do that. Like I want to figure out how to do that. And so he got After Effects, and he was like, I think I could, I think I got the hang of it. And that was probably like a month, like maybe 2 months. And I was like, well, you want to take a stab at the end credits for episode 5, and that's just from him learning After Effects within 2 or 3 months. So it's pretty scary to think what he can do, this time next year or maybe even 3 years from now. So he just gets it. He's super talented. So without having those first couple episodes, out, people I don't think would have taken notice and kind of been like, we want to help you guys with the rest of this.
Totally.
Yeah.
I remember Will actually watched the show first, and he's like, dude, you gotta see this. You gotta watch this episode. We watched it.
I think it was the first 2. I believe.
Yeah, I remember watching the first one and just being surprised that it was like good, because local stuff typically isn't
Right.
I was like, dude, this is really funny. I feel like it's speaking to me because I get 60% of the jokes, and I'm sure there's another guy that gets the other 40.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No one ever gets all of the references, which
Yeah.
I think is great.
Yeah. Well, and it's good that you're not dependent on the references. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Comedy is not dependent on references.
Right.
No, not
I
at
have
all.
no idea what the log trope is. I have no idea what that means.
But it's funny.
But it's funny, and in all honesty, the comedy doesn't need that to stand on its own. And then also, as it's gone along, the characterization doesn't need that to stand on its own. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're hitting the point now. I feel like with episodes, 5 and 6 especially, but even before that, where you're starting to care as a viewer, speaking as a viewer, you're starting to care about the characters for themselves, right? Not just for the jokes or the one-liners or whatever. The example that makes me think of that the most strongly is the moment in episode 6 where Adam is telling Kent what a great boss he is, and the audience reaction was kind of split, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was all good reaction, but it was like some people laughed, but I was one of the ones who really didn't laugh.
Right.
I was like, that's not like a funny moment to me. That's just a good character
especially
moment.
because I actually had scored that sequence.
Yeah,
and
you
we
actually-
decided that until just after that, it didn't need music.
Right.
But I remember sitting with it for a while, and I guess initially, if you're with it, you're going to play off the crowd. Initially, once you watch that, it's like, that's funny because like,
Right.
But then I guarantee you, everybody who watched it a second time online, they're like, oh man,
Yeah, that's like a moment.
That's
It's
for
like,
sure.
It's really sad that
Yeah.
like Kent can't offer anything
He can't
to Adam.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's closed there.
He's
It shouldn't
closed it
be,
off,
yeah.
and it shouldn't be.
it accomplishes two things because we put that like that was actually that was part of the writing process where first off we thought maybe the final confrontation would take place at the comic book dojo, but we just didn't have said comic book dojo.
You didn't have an
Right.
extra comic book store sitting around?
Yeah, we didn't. So, especially one with a dojo,
Right, yeah.
So we were like, well, how? Okay, well, if the battle is kind of for the destination, it should just be at the destination.
Yeah.
But up until that point, we had it written in there that like they were going to go to the destination all as a group, or not the group, not the destination, but they were going to go to the comic book dojo.
Yeah.
And so then when we kind of saw that problem, because everything kind of still played out the same, where Kent has an argument with Zoe, and he leaves, and he only he was left in such a huff that he only picked up like 5 or 6 cards. And when he gets there, we wanted to remind the audience that there's much more at stake than, because he even says it himself, it's a stupid card game. But we wanted to make sure that there are other people at the store that would be affected from this outcome.
Mm-hmm.
And it also accomplished another thing by just laying it on thick because, it's almost comedic in the sense where, he's just like, you're the best boss in the whole wide world and you're my best friend. But the great thing about that is Adam Shanks, if you're fully invested into the Adam Shanks character, that's probably true.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'd love to, in season 2, dive into more of like, how did Adam Shanks even get a job? Because he's so different from anybody else that's even working there.
Yeah.
And like, it's like, did he save Kent in a fire or something? Like, he owed him one. So that's why he's the assistant manager, because he doesn't, he's kind of like Veronica in the sense that he doesn't like, he's a little bit socially awkward in this comic book world because, to him, Teen Dog is the world.
Yeah.
That's like the creme de la creme of the comic books there. And, to see him talking to Kent that way, just like, you're my best friend and everything. It kind of reminds everybody that, these are real people at the store, and they depend on Kent for a lot of things.
Yeah.
And he's not the greatest leader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Understatement.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is I feel like he once was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
interesting,
whenever he
yeah.
first meets Zoe, like he takes her in, like
Yep.
he and Jake are like really best. They pizza high five.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But what's great about the Adam Shanks character after talking to Mr. Sean Keller is that was like just the character as far as how he played it completely was pretty last minute, right?
Yeah.
It was supposed to be more of like a stoner kind of.
Yeah, it was, man, it's really weird. Like I think there's like 1 or 2 concept sketches that I have, and Adam Shanks is not wearing a suit, not a bow tie. I think I've got him like in a Green Lantern shirt. Like
Nice.
he was just kind of gonna,
Just
he
a
still was,
comic book store
he still
dude.
was, he still was going to be socially awkward. And I think he was going to just be more of like a walking encyclopedia, like in the sense where he would reference things and people would kind of look at him weird. And then, similar to, I want to say like Dr. Evil did it in the Austin Powers movies where no, it wasn't Dr. Evil. I think it was Gold. I can't believe I'm quoting an Austin Powers thing, but like he would basically say what it's from. He would give you what the name of the reference is, in, basically
Right.
all within, like they would look at him all weird and he's like, that was from Hook, when they were talking about the boo box or something, he's like, it was a reference from Hook, something like that. And then they would just, ignore him and move on. But, he showed up and, just like he said, he was like, so I think I'm going to try this voice. And, he's like, I had this mustache and I was like, maybe I'll do the bow tie. And I was like, at that point, it's kind of like, well, we're all here. We need to start shooting. So I'm just like, yeah, sure. Okay. Those first couple episodes, yeah, were very much, everybody was kind of feeling each other out. Like, how is this character going to act? And, so we had kind of the basic template in place of like, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. But then once we actually saw how these characters interacted with each other, then the real fun started, where it's like, okay, now this makes sense for this person to act this way. It makes more sense for, Zoe to react this way, what have you. So, and then the flashback opened up all sorts of fun possibilities.
Right.
That was actually I don't necessarily want to say a last minute addition, but like my contribution to that episode, I have a few contributions, maybe occasionally.
I would imagine you have a couple.
But, I kind of like, I had some of the groundwork for what that episode was going to be, but originally there was no flashbacks. There was no twins. And I felt like the story, had almost too much drama. It was just going to be Zoe's sister showing up and kind of being like, basically saying the same thing, it just would have been more prudish and not kind of outlandish and funny. And I was just like, this isn't, it's drama and that's good, but I feel like it could be funnier, and I feel like we can have some fun with this episode. So, added the sex twins, and then I was like, we need to have all these different flashbacks. Like, this is a really great opportunity to, just show this character, since it's a character-driven episode, kind of see her what led her to this point. And originally we were just going to have the cosplay like incident, and then I was like, well, let's take it one step further and show kind of her before the cosplay incident with like the job or whatever. And then after that, it needed something to tie it all together, because you're presented with this ultimatum, and it's like, well, of course, why would she? We've been with her so long. She seems kind of, for lack of a better word, punk rock, anti-establishment. And then you see that flashback, and then you're like, oh, okay, it's the first time you really see her vulnerable, and not saying because of the state of undress and the wardrobe malfunction, but just you see real emotion from her, because she gave up on her dreams and whatnot, and left her family, and she's just looking for kind of a place to belong at this point, and Kent welcomes her to the destination. So that was a heavy moment, and then when you cut back, the destination's a completely different place now. So she has a pretty good reason to split. But episode 6 came along.
It's so
and she's
layered,
still around.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it is.
like I hadn't even really thought about it
For sure.
like that. Like,
Oh, thanks.
it was kind of like her safe haven, but it's like kind of not safe anymore. Like,
yeah.
No.
like the
It
guy
has
that took her
changed.
in, like, won't even like
Acknowledge her, really.
acknowledge her at all,
I've always felt,
except for that "we did it" moment.
yeah,
It's great.
That's good. Yeah, that was
we
satisfying.
did it. Like I think I even said back around episode 3, she's the reason that the story even functions, because
That makes sense.
Adam does things, but he's not the greatest salesman, or I feel like he would be more involved with stocking items.
Right.
Kent, let's face it, he kind of wears his heart on his sleeve, so to speak. Whenever he's in a mood, it affects everybody.
Yeah.
And he can, like he said, he's like whatchamacallit. What Hulk is he, where he's where he's it comes and goes. I forget what the joke is, but it comes in spurts, where like sometimes he could be a nice guy, but other times he's a jerk.
Yeah.
So like while he's out trying to hit on Veronica and be on this podcast, which he completely butchers, who's back there manning the store? Zoe. She's keeping things afloat, and she even tries to save the store by wanting to tweet in something helpful that would help them look good in social media. And Adam talks about burnt kittens.
He tries, but he's just not.
But the reason they most likely keep the lights on is because Zoe is there, the voice of reason, and actually keeping things working.
Dude,
Yeah.
just think about in episode 6, like the reason Kent wins the store back.
Sure.
is
Right.
strictly Zoe.
Yeah.
That's it. She's like,
He makes a terrible decision that gets him into
she
this,
fixes
and
it.
then she fixes it. Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah,
another
absolutely.
very good example too.
Yeah.
So
So did you? So when we were at the premiere of episode 6,
Yeah.
you showed a little tiny teaser of episode 7. Did you put that online, or
no,
is that not online?
No,
Okay.
the tiny teaser is not online.
Okay. All right.
No.
It was an exclusive. Well, sorry everybody. I
It's,
didn't.
yeah,
I didn't mean to tease.
We try to, we
Yeah.
try to make it so like when you come to these events, you get a little bit
Yeah.
something extra than just watching it
Totally.
online. So I mean,
Yeah.
people will eventually see that teaser. It
Sure.
might be,
It'd
we'll
just be a
have
little
better
while.
scenes.
Yeah.
We might have original Joe music for the
Right.
trailer because
You
I'll probably
might.
get in trouble for using that song that I was using. But yeah, like
Cool.
it's just something to kind of always look forward to. Not
Yeah.
only do you get kind of a comedy show with whoever's hosting and unintentional comedy show with the Q&As, but you usually get like kind of a sneak peek of things to come.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
So
Definitely.
this last episode was over 30 minutes long,
Yes, it
right?
was. Yeah.
And how long was the first episode?
First episode is our shortest episode, clocking
Right.
in about 13 minutes.
Okay, so
Maybe 14, but that's being
I
generous.
imagine that the plan wasn't to have a 30-minute episode when you started, right?
No.
It just kind of you kind of found
Yeah.
you found the heartbeat of it, and like it needed more.
Yeah,
right?
more story. Yeah.
Yeah, and, I mean, episode 6 actually went through a major rewrite. And if you guys want to hear about it, this could be the exclusive scoop right
Watch
here.
out.
Let's do it.
All right,
Exclusive.
all right.
Let's do it.
Let's see if I can. Yeah,
Everybody get ready.
It's a long
All right.
story, so grab a beverage and a sandwich. No, I'll try to keep it brief, but it kind of comes down to three different things. The first one being props, the second one being casting, and the third being location. So keep those 3 points in mind, gentlemen. We're gonna go
on
through
this
them all.
journey.
Yeah.
I feel like
this is gonna be an epic Kuso journey. Folks.
I feel like you've taken like a public speaking class.
Yeah.
You've already hit
I
your
have.
bullet points.
These are
I
the
have.
3 points. Yeah.
I have taken a public speaking class. So, but okay, so we're going back to the very beginning of Bagged and Board when we were trying to figure out what stuff we'd have in this episode, not in the episode, but just the season, like kind of a framework for how this first chapter is going to go in this story. And similar to how we did Zach Cooper, we kind of were like, what do we have to work with? Because we don't have a lot of money, so it's like, what props are available to us? So in that sense, for Zach Cooper, we had a lot of video game paraphernalia and knickknacks and whatnot. So we're like, well, we're going to make a video game movie. In this sense, we already had the comic book store, but we were like, what else do we have? And somebody mentioned that Brian Barrow, surprise, surprise, has a huge collection of Nerf guns.
Nice.
Not super surprising.
Not
Yeah,
super
I can
surprising.
imagine.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Makes sense.
So when somebody mentioned that, I was like, okay, well, we'll have a Nerf gun episode. And my original idea for it was, it probably would have fallen somewhere, episode 5 or 6. And Kent would have been kind of down in the dumps about Josie. Maybe it was the anniversary of, when they broke up or anniversary when they got together. Either way, Zoe kind of brings up the fact that they haven't had like a Nerf battle for a long time. So that would be like one of those after hour things that maybe they did, for fun. But then Jake catches wind of it. And like he kind of wants to crash the Nerf gun party, and like brings along some customers that we would have like Sonic Guy Steve would have been there, so it would have been like customers versus the destination staff in the Nerf gun battle. Just kind of a fun little camaraderie thing. But then when we started developing the Johnny Masters character, casting. Now we're coming to casting. Yeah,
Keeping you on track.
keeping you on track.
That's right.
So like, when we came up with the Johnny Masters character, we decided that maybe that would be his episode, is like, they would have a Nerf gun battle together. So like, kind of up the stakes, similar to how we have Kuso Combat where it's a card game, but we'd up the stakes and it would be a Nerf battle. But that seems very weird, doesn't it? Well, again, going back to casting, Craig Williams was originally going to be Johnny Masters.
Oh, interesting.
Really?
Wow.
So it would have been
That's interesting.
Can you see that for a second? Just
I can't
take
picture
it.
it.
Just take a beat and try to.
It would
picture
just be a different character.
It would.
It would just
Yeah.
be a different character. It could be really good, but it
Yeah.
would just be a different character.
It
I
was
think.
going to be a completely different character,
Yeah.
obviously, because okay, so I love Craig. and Craig, sorry, but this Johnny Masters character would have been a little heavier and out of shape and balding. So the joke with the Comic Book Dojo commercial would have been like, clearly he has no idea what he's doing, so he's instantly not a threat. So it's like,
Right.
in the commercial, like, it would have been funny to see this large man, trying to throw kicks at people and stuff, but he couldn't.
Yeah.
Just because physically he couldn't. And then like that was part of the joke, was like anybody could take on Johnny Masters. Like
Right.
but he hid behind this facade of like, I know martial arts.
Right.
But so then that was kind of the idea of like, he would want to save his reputation and be like, no, I'm not gonna fight you. I'm gonna beat you in a Nerf gun battle. You know what I mean? Like he would look for any
Right.
other excuse other than hand-to-hand combat to take on Kent. So, but once we recasted Jeremy Sapp in the role. Once we casted him in the role, we had seen him perform in a play at the Bardstown, and Craig was, he was like, what if he's Johnny Masters? And I was like, you wouldn't be Johnny Masters anymore if that happens. He's like, well, I think he would be much better. And it turns out he was right. And, we gave him a, kind of a cold read for the dojo commercial and the rough version of what episode 6 was going to be. And, he did great. So we were like, awesome. But then after we shot that commercial, I was like, oh man, this character now, like when
It's going places.
when we see him again, it feels like the conflict between Kent Carney and Johnny Masters has to be settled through kung fu means. It would be anything
Right.
else would
Right.
just feel like a cop out.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I was like, man,
Just a huge missed opportunity.
yeah.
Yeah.
People, I was like, people loved like the him beating up the stunt doubles, and just his intensity. Yeah. So it's like maybe he didn't know. Like, I mean, at least it looks like he knows martial arts.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you wouldn't really want to fight him, hand to hand. Like he's dangerous. Like, he's a goofy character, but he could be dangerous.
Yeah.
And so already I was like, I don't think this Nerf gun thing's going to fit. So now we come to the last bit of information, which is location.
Keeping you on track.
Location.
Tell you what.
Location. So what happened was, so for that episode, the Nerf gun episode, we were going to use this place called All About Kids. And I think Craig had a family member or somebody that worked there. And we never got like the 100% like, this is A-okay to do. But like he always was kind of like, oh, it'll be no problem. Turns out there was a problem. And and already I was worried about it because I was like, Craig, it was hard enough for us to get people to show up, like everybody to show up for episode 2 and 1. And that's why kind of like after that, all the characters are represented, but they're also kind of like, split up.
Yeah.
But he was like, oh, it should be fine. We'll shoot it in a way where, they could be separated during the battle. Cause like everybody was going to be involved in this Nerf battle. It just wasn't Kent and Johnny. But this All About Kids place was kind of like a children's gymnasium. Like, it's got trampolines and a foam brick pit and all this weird stuff.
I've heard of that place actually.
Yeah. So it seemed like it would be cool, but I was just like, oh man, this is going to be a nightmare because like, I don't know how late we can stay there because something like this is going to take a long time because no one's thinking about the things I'm thinking about is like, what, so whatever Nerf gun this person uses, let's say it's like a big semi-automatic Nerf gun type thing. They fire off all the balls or the darts and it's like, well, that was good, but we need to do it again. Who's going to stop everything and go and pick up all those balls that went everywhere? And that's going to, eat into our time. So chances are I'd have to put down the camera and go get it myself. But, so that would slow us down. So then like once it became apparent that was no longer going to be a location, I was like, well, that seals the deal. Episode 6 needs to be rewritten. It's Nerf or nothing. It's nothing. Yeah. So that's when I was like, I think we should stick to, the character who's so ingrained in Kung Fu and martial arts, and it should be kind of a Kung Fu episode. And what happened after that was just the weirdest brainstorming session of just like, everybody's going to fight in the episode and, it's going to be like a tournament like Mortal Kombat and all this different stuff. And then like after a day of letting all those wacky ideas settle, we're just like, that's really stupid. And like, it makes no sense for the world that we've already created. And so then, I think right around when we were finishing up shooting a scene for episode 5, Craig mentioned to me, and I say this with all sincerity too, he came up to me with this other idea, and I almost wanted to smack him upside his head.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was like, so I'm thinking, what if instead of a physical confrontation between Kent and Johnny Masters, it's some sort of other competition, like maybe they enter a dance competition. And I was like, what? But no, I kept my cool. Kung Fu dance. But it triggered something because I was like, well, hold up here. Like, I feel like we keep on getting further and further away from what we have here at the destination. Yeah. And I was like, first off, we were getting away from it because we were like Nerf guns. When you think comic book stores, Nerf guns usually don't come hand in hand. Even Kung Fu and martial arts, that usually isn't like, the first thing that comes to your mind with comic book stores. And I was like, guys, what do we keep on getting kicked out of the back room right at noon for? And what keeps us from getting in there right at 9:00 to shoot on Friday nights or Saturday nights? The tabletop card games. And I was like, they should have a battle with a, tabletop card game. And I was like, but we would, we'd stylize it. I didn't know exactly how it would be stylized, but I was like, I knew that there would be like physical, things that would happen. And it wasn't until, I gave that idea to Craig, and then he was like, okay. So then he invented that whole Kuso world thing, which, we already were having to shoot episodes 6 and 7 at the same time. So I'm like, oh man, and seven's a beast in its own right, but then 6 became even something else entirely. And I'm like, oh man, we got to find these locations and we got to find the costumes. It's a challenge, but I think it's going to be worth it.
Yeah.
And I think it ended up being worth it. And it did justice to the Johnny Masters character by having those martial arts elements. And I got to make a Kung Fu movie. So at least the closest thing I'll probably ever get to a Kung Fu movie.
And I mean, the interesting thing is you were talking about the development of the Johnny Masters character. It's really interesting. I think it worked out really well because like at this point, he's this sort of, like, you don't get the impression he really gives a shit about comic books.
Right, yeah.
Right?
He
just happens to have... It's almost like he has a comic book store, just happens to in his dojo.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it's like he's this type A, and he's successful. You know what I mean? He's very, like... He's winning the world or whatever. And in that sense, he's also not Kent. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
If you have another guy who's kind of like not, floundering in his role, then you have two characters like that.
Yeah,
and
Johnny Masters is in shape. He's got it together. He's he's successful.
Yeah.
So.
Plus, he does cardio Sundays and Tuesdays.
Exactly.
Is what I hear.
Yeah,
Tuesdays and
Sundays. That's right.
Those are his cardio days.
But you also have the Johnny Masters used to date Zoe. Trying to get Veronica. Like he's taking the women out of Kent's life.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So it's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
What you need to revive the Nerf episode for season 2, and you need a third comic book store, and it's an old army guy.
There you go.
Who's not he like.
See, that would
That's Craig, and he's like he's not in shape anymore, but he can handle a Nerf gun.
Right. He's a pacifist now, so he sells Nerf.
See, now that would have made more sense. That would work for that character if it was Comic Book Warfare was the name of the shop or something.
There you go.
Exactly.
We just created it.
There you go.
So you need a
pilot episode.
You need a
Season 2.
third store to enter the mix, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like I asked this question of Craig, and I don't remember his answer offhand, but I'll ask you as well.
Sure.
And just a yes or no if you want, or you can elaborate as much as you want.
All right.
If I were to give you the task of taking a piece of paper and writing down what the incident is, could you do that right now?
I could. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And I'm not going to elaborate because
of course.
we never elaborate about the incident.
Right. Yeah, we actually don't talk about the incident. Yeah.
Well,
okay.
Could you write it down
The
if
incident,
you had just shot episode 1?
Right.
No. The incident is now much closer to... there's still things we need to flesh out with it. Yeah. But it's leaps and bounds further along than when it was in episode 1. We always knew that it was going to be a thing. And then we were like, well, I think Craig actually wanted to reveal it in episode 3. And I was like, man, it hasn't really been like, and I get what he's saying.
Warm it on up.
Yeah.
Warm it up.
I get what he's saying because I was like, when people watch these episodes, because like it felt like a long time had passed between episode 1, 2, and 3, just because of how we released them. And I'm like, but you got to think to the casual viewer who would end up binge watching this.
He's looking at a
You know,
playlist.
yeah, it's mentioned in episode 1. I don't think it's mentioned in episode 2 at all. So then it's like, why would
It
we
just immediately-
why would we immediately reveal, one of the mysteries that we would hope maybe would, donate to season 2 so you can find out what the incident finally, something like that. So, we're much closer. We went back and forth on different things. But,
I've got some theories.
We're closer. I'd like to hear some theories. Yeah, I'll say warm or cold.
Just
or
just keep
or
a
hot.
straight, or just keep a straight face.
Yeah, maybe
just,
My
just
theory's
straight
not-
face.
My theory is not very specific.
Okay.
But with all the things we've spoken of and how everything's different in the world of the destination and Kent, I think the incident is the spark of all of these things. The reason Kent's the way he is, the reason he and Jake aren't friends anymore.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. Has something to do in my fan theory with
This is great.
With
Fan theories.
Dude, don't
Bring
even
'em
say
on.
it. I read your blog.
You read my blog. What's my blog called again? My twin's name is Greg. What's my bagged and board fan theory blog
It's called
Bagged and blogged.
yeah, that's good. I like it.
But
I'm stealing it.
I'm thinking it has something to do with Josie, right? The incident. That may even be said explicitly. I don't remember.
Yeah,
But that's
the incident
yeah.
directly
But-
pertains to Josie.
Right. Okay. Yeah. But it
Maybe it doesn't.
maybe
but that's,
it
that's
doesn't.
the impression I've always
that was the
gotten.
impression I got as well. But I agree with you that Bagged and Board takes place in the wake of the incident. That's where you're looking at the decimation that has happened
And
after the
Yeah,
incident.
and
right?
what's great
Oh,
is
yeah.
that you wouldn't think that so much if it hadn't been for that one flashback, that one lost moment. First of all,
yeah, lost moment.
which,
That's-
was-
yes.
which is funny because the incident, we stole that from Lost. You all do realize that, right?
no,
no,
was
I
it-
didn't either.
Oh,
no.
well, spoilers.
Spoilers.
So,
I'm sure you've all seen it, but
I've
like
seen Lost.
there
Yeah.
was
It's been a long
there was a
time.
thing in the hatch.
Oh, it's the like the
They find
what was
an
it?
they
It's a
find an
counter or
instructional
something?
video down there, and the dude is talking, and he's like, he mentions an incident, so he's like, ever since the incident, we must do the number sequence.
Interesting.
So then,
Every
like,
however long, yeah.
you wait however long to
Yeah.
figure out what it. So that was kind of our.
That's right.
It was kind of our joke. Because all sorts of different pop culture things inspire us, and that particular one, I was like, we need some sort of hook that keeps that. People are like, what is this? What is this thing? And we don't have too many mysteries, because we aren't Lost. But like we were like, it'd be fun to have one mystery that like we just kind of dangle in front of people
Yeah,
for a
totally.
while, and then like until we finally get it. And I think when we finally do it, people won't be disappointed.
I don't know what you're insinuating.
Not
I'm not
tooting my own
sure.
horn, but yeah, that's
I'm not
what-
sure who you're
that's what
talking
that-
about.
And I before your all's fan theories continue, I just want to say I love listening to your all's podcast when I love listening to it
when we talk
regardless.
about you.
but when it's bagged and board, you all treat it like an actual TV show, and like you have these theories and you have these hopes of like where you see a character headed, and like it feels like
Totally.
it doesn't feel like I'm listening to like someone talking about something that I made. It feels like something that's like legitimized and like out there. So thank you for making me feel legitimized.
Yes.
Yeah, of course,
and, like,
man.
making everybody feel special.
Well,
by
it's a
talking about it like
legitimate
that.
it's a
Well, thank
legitimate
you.
project. I mean,
Thank
it
you.
is.
The
It
real
definitely
deal.
is.
And you were warm, but
Okay.
then you got cold.
Ooh. Oh, I'm gonna have to
but
listen
how,
back
how
to what
great
we
is
said.
my idea?
I can't tell you too
Just
much.
wait till season 2 when I'm in the writer's room.
This is
right.
This is the only thing I'll say about the incident. So gather around, everybody. Gather around your radio station. Wait, that's not how they do it.
Little Orphan Annie time.
Either
Don't touch
way,
that dial,
Don't
folks.
touch that dial. The flashback that you saw in episode 5 does tie into it. That is going to be a I don't know what the technical term is, but that's kind of a center point for things that are going to happen around that time frame when Zoe shows up. And
Well,
such.
let's just remember that.
And if we might change it. So
Right.
but there were several things that we noticed because we all loved that episode. But then I was like, guys, we opened up Pandora's box here because there's certain things that once people become more entwined with the Bagnum-Board universe and the history, the mythos, if you will, they're going to start spotting continuity errors and stuff. I mean, you can probably spot them all the time, but there is a major one that
Error?
No,
Major
I
error?
wouldn't say an error. We knew what we were doing the whole time, but let's just say that things are going to happen in that short time period where Zoe shows up to the store, where some sort of an incident will occur. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
That's all I'm
I
saying.
like it.
That's all I'm saying.
Can you say whether or not Can you say whether or not any of that will be revealed in the season finale?
Oh, see, that I can say. There will be no incident revealed in episode 7.
Okay.
I can say that.
That's a very non-definitive statement. I mean, that rules out one thing. It doesn't tell you anything about episode 7.
I'm surprised y'all aren't asking more about episode 7. But
Well, I figured we're just going to talk about it after we hit.
that's true.
Yeah, we'll have you back
You're gonna be
on.
getting major
Yeah.
spoilers.
And
We're
also,
gonna talk about the music.
since the little teaser is not up yet,
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about a few things that I'm particularly excited about in the teaser, but I don't want to mention them.
oh,
because,
well, I guess that's true.
because we'll wait. We'll do it proper.
Okay,
we'll do it right.
We'll do it proper.
We'll do it
yeah,
proper.
I can't say much about it. I have somewhat of a little sales pitch for it. If we want to give,
if
it
you
to
can
the
do a
listeners.
spoiler-free Matt Gaither approved sales
Fair
pitch
enough.
for episode 7, go for
Fair
it.
enough. It's going to be episode 7. no, there's
Oh, it's the seventh one.
Now I'm on board. I wasn't even going to watch
the
it.
one after the one.
I was not
that's
even
up
going to
on the
watch it.
internet.
I'll be honest.
What I will say is, throughout this first season, if you've been watching, if you've been following it from the beginning, there's kind of 3 main story arcs that are going on, and it's kind of, maybe even saying 3 is pushing it, but there's 3 main character story arcs that are going on. The main 3 that we focused on, at least, is Kent, Zoe, and Adam's character. I think that's fair to say. Each of them have kind of had their own centric episodes. All of those storylines are kind of going to intertwine in this last episode, and Kent is going to do something really stupid that is going to affect all of them, not only just them, but the entire destination store, and the ramifications will be felt well into season 2. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dun
It's
dun
exciting.
dun.
That actually felt kind of heavy, right?
I know. Yeah.
It's like, oh,
I'm
no,
excited.
Kent, don't do
Kent,
it.
don't do it.
But you guys already filmed it. We can't make him stop.
No,
We can't go
there's no
back.
way to stop him.
You can't go back.
I keep yelling at him when I bring it up on YouTube, but he's still fictional. So he just can't hear me.
Well, I guess I'm going to have to make it sound really dramatic. With music.
Yeah, you are. You'll find out. You'll find out after the podcast. You have to make sure that the record is no longer pushed on there.
Maybe I've got secret microphones in the room.
It wouldn't surprise me. This is a recording studio.
It is, indeed.
Well, you got anything else you want to push, Matt? I mean, everybody's going to watch episodes 1 through 6 at this
Right.
point. They're going to
Yeah.
be waiting on episode 7. Anything else you want to throw out there, or just
Man.
keep up with Pixel Brain?
Keep up with Pixel Brain.
Yeah.
At the time that we recorded this, we just got done at the Louisville Arcade Expo.
Right.
So I don't know when you guys are planning on airing this. We could do a little insert date here or something like that. But we did do some video coverage of it again. So anyone that went to the Louisville Arcade Expo and checked out our screening and checked out our ridiculous Smash Brothers 64 tournament, which we had about 100 people
I was going to
show
say, it
up.
looked pretty big.
Heard
from
about
the,
that.
Yeah, we
the
had
internet pics.
Yeah, we had about 70 show up, but people dragged their girlfriends along and maybe their parents and whatnot, and they were like, "What is going on?" Especially there's this one great shot of this girl in the audience that Chris Dillard with the DNN was filming, and he kind of spins it around after I say, like, "Get ready for Smash Brothers," just like, and like he spins the camera around, and there is this girl that's just like, it's just like, oh my God, why did my boyfriend drag me?
That's
Oh
great.
my gosh, and this sea of virgins all wanting to play Smash Brothers 64, something that was a big deal in 1999.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. There you go.
You're
Well,
right, there
let's
isn't.
put her
Ain't
face
nothing
up
wrong
on the
with
internet.
Yeah. And so we shall.
man.
But no, we'll have a video for that. But I mean, other than that, like I'm trying to do, I'm going to be lighter on con coverage videos this year, just for my own sanity. I didn't film anything at MagFest. We went to MagFest.
Yeah.
You were there for business.
Yeah, we were there for
Yeah.
business, just to show the basically first 6 episodes of the season.
Oh, cool.
We showed everything except episode 7.
Are you going to do that, whether it's one episode or more? Are you going to do showings at some cons coming up, whether you're doing video or not? Like
Yeah. I guess I should clarify. Yeah, I most likely will not be doing any sort of music video recaps.
Right.
Just because
But
even
Pixel Brain may be at
Pixel Brain will
cons
definitely
around,
be
yeah.
at cons. We might not have a booth, but we will be there just maybe as guests
Totally.
to show the series. And
Yeah.
like especially when we get all 7 of them out, we'd love to be able to show the entire season.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure there'll be an event when we do have the DVD Blu-ray where we could everyone can come to one venue, maybe the Bardstown, Kaiju, wherever that may be,
Yeah.
and watch them all from beginning to end, and then
Totally.
pick up the DVD with all the special features and exciting stuff like that. Original art by Harry that might be included in some sort of booklet. So
Nice.
there's all sorts of different
You
stuff
get a
that's
free
in the pipeline.
soundtrack.
Yeah, we can get a free soundtrack.
That's right. That's right.
But yeah,
Gotta
mainly
make sure those mixes are better than what I was giving Matt.
yeah, just maybe.
People just listening to it underneath dialogue and stuff. It don't matter.
Yeah,
they don't know.
I listen
They
to
don't
it
know.
a lot though without the dialogue. It's
cool.
really, really, really good.
Thanks, man.
So if you were to ask me the music question, I was ready. I was like, I've been listening to a lot of Joe Stockton lately, a lot of the Kuso Combat score, but just Bagged and Board is really kind of all I've been doing for the last
Totally,
year and a half.
yeah.
So there's nothing else to
Well,
plug.
and you have a ton to show for it, though.
There's
So it's
nothing else
not,
to plug. Well, thank you.
That's good. Awesome, man. Well, thanks for coming by,
Yeah.
and please come by when episode 7 comes out.
I will
and
definitely come
We
by.
will recap.
I think there's a finale, I guess, party that's being planned.
There is a finale party that's being
A
planned.
showing.
Yeah.
There's been talk of live music.
There
Maybe
has been talk
Who
of live
knows? Who
music.
knows?
we might have gotten
Anything's
an
possible.
email from Mr. Brian Barrow
Today, huh?
Oh, really?
Was it today?
No, it was like a week
While
or two
ago?
ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
I was supposed to follow up with some things, but that's business on the airwaves here.
Yeah.
But there might be a Villain District appearance.
Who knows?
Or- yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
So everybody should keep an eye out for that, and for you guys just at cons generally, and
Sure,
also
yeah.
on YouTube 24/7.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
there you go.
Because that's how the internet works.
That's how the internet works. It never goes off the air.
Yeah.
I keep waiting for the anthem, and then they shut it down, but it doesn't ever happen.
I'm thinking also like our Facebook is also a central hub for kind of bonus videos, which is where
Definitely.
you'll see some occasional bloopers, and I've got another music one planned for the Kuso Combat one.
Nice.
which is basically
Which is basically your
Which is
buddy
basically-
Pat screaming.
yeah, Pat in the booth and me just tickled so hard
yeah. Oh,
crying
yeah.
in here because
That's
he's
awesome.
He's
So-
like, yeah, cool, it's so funny.
So doesn't that sound like something your listeners would want to hear and see?
Absolutely.
Is just Joe laughing. It
Absolutely.
won't be as sexy and charming as you with the acoustic guitar at the beginning.
Right.
Because those are other fun videos that you can watch. It's just like how certain things kind of come together, and they'll be fleshed out more when we finally get that DVD Blu-ray out. So
Totally.
good stuff.
What is the Facebook? Facebook.com/PixelBrain Productions.
Facebook.com/PixelBrain Productions.
Yeah. So everybody go check that out.
Pretty easy. Yep.
Very nice.
All right.
Where are we sitting time-wise? We good?
Yeah, we're an hour and 17 minutes. So
Oh, beautiful.
Oh yeah.
pretty good.
Nice.
Not too bad for your first solo flight.
Well
Yeah.
done, Matt Gaither.
Thank you.
Thanks for
you
being
very
here,
much.
man.
Thank
All
you for
right.
having me. Always a pleasure, guys. Always a pleasure.
All right, we're going to turn these mics off and keep talking. Bye.
Bye.
Boy. So we're off, right?
Yeah. Okay. So what
Let's talk.
happens?
All right, so yeah, what's
So tell us.
So the incident is he stole a sandwich out of the fridge. Yeah. It was Kent's sandwich. And Jake, you know how he's always eating.
Yeah, he likes to eat.
He took the sandwich. And that was Kent's sandwich. Maybe Josie made it for him, so
Right.
maybe that whole thing ties in.
Had a whole big mess of mustard on it.
Yeah, well, we haven't determined if there's mustard on it or not
Okay.
yet. Those are the details we're trying to flesh out. That's why I told you it's not completely there yet. But once we figure out the condiments and what sandwich it is,
Right.
man, people are going to lose their minds.
Thank you for listening, DNN.